Ann Germain is currently the manager of engineering at the Delaware Solid Waste Authority. She's been active in the landfill industry for the past 13 years. She also currently serves as the division director for the landfill division of SWANA, the Solid Waste Association of North America, and past president of her local chapter. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Virginia Tech, currently going after her master's at the University of Delaware, and hopefully, very soon, it's her desire to be SWANA certified. Here to discuss what I understand, well, I was told it was legendary, and then a couple of folks kind of chuckled, but here to discuss her legendary self-control. Please welcome Ann Germain.
Hello? Okay. No, oh, I got it turned on. Okay. Am I ready? No, I'm not ready. Okay. My topic is on self-control. Why self-control? Because self-control equals success. And everyone wants to be successful, right? Don't believe me that it's the most important factor for success? Well, here's a study. In 1972, psychologist Walter Mischel conducted what is known as the Stanford Marshmallow Experiment. In it, he tested the self-control of about 600 4- to 6-year-old kids to see if they could resist eating one marshmallow for 15 minutes in order to get a second one. However, when he subsequently followed up on those kids, he found that the 1/3 that were able to resist the marshmallows, thereby spontaneously developing coping strategies, were the most successful adults. So, my question, could you have resisted a marshmallow as a 4-year-old for 15 minutes? I don't think I could have. I probably would have eaten it. But I got better, my self-control improved, and part of the credit belongs to my brother, Eddie. Not that he was trying. This is not him, but these are pictures of Eddie, so close enough. Anyway, Eddie accidentally taught me self-control because we argued a lot. Not that that seems like it should help someone with self-control, but in my case it did. Because when we argued, and I would run out of things to say, I would say he was stupid or tell him to shut up. And one day he said that I had lost the argument. I couldn't see how, but he insisted because I resorted to name-calling, I lost. So I tried really hard never to say those things, but sometimes he made me so mad. But I hated losing even more, so I tried and I got better and eventually learned to keep my cool even when I was arguing. So thanks, Eddie, I guess. Well, that started it. But by learning to control myself in the face of enormous adversity, my brother Eddie, I found that I could maintain control even under less trying conditions. Control is centered in your prefrontal cortex, shown here in yellow. That's responsible for the brain's executive functions, including mediating conflicting thoughts, making choices, predicting the future, and following rules. So in other words, it's responsible for tact and diplomacy. It provides the more reasoned and thoughtful response rather than acting on impulse. In fact, much of its actual functionality appears to be inhibitory, controlling impulses. This means what it spends a lot of time doing is saying no. In fact, one study revealed that what it does most often is tell you no. It acts to suppress urges, inhibiting behaviors that could lead to undesirable consequences. For example, in this Stroop test, you're supposed to say the color and ignore the word. If I were to time you on this and compare it to how you would do naming colored blobs, you would be slower. This is because your prefrontal cortex has to override your impulse to read the words. At first, self-control is hard because you're changing your habits or you might be in a stress situation. But once established, it's easier to maintain. This applies to resisting marshmallows, studying, or even exercising regularly. But even at the best of times, self-control is a limited resource. When other facets of your prefrontal cortex are taxed, our reserves can be depleted. For example, decision-making has been shown to deplete our reserves, even benign decision-making. In one study, subjects were assigned tasks in front of cookies. Some of them were allowed to eat and others weren't. Those forbidden to eat the cookies saw their control slip on the task sooner than those allowed to eat. Resisting the cookies ate up their self-control. One technique to improve your self-control is distraction. Distraction, just directing your attention elsewhere, is easier than trying to use willpower or to try and white-knuckle it. Other techniques include reward and punishment, two sides of the same coin. They can be used when situations are more predictable or long-ranging. By using the carrot and stick approach, it's easier to maintain your focus on the goal. But when you're tired or angry or frustrated and your control starts to slip, those techniques might not cut it. It's difficult to stop being mad. Your emotions are difficult to change. But when you're emotional, your breathing becomes quicker and shallower. You may not be able to control your emotions, but you can control your breath. So, slow it down and make it deeper. Just like your breath was changed by your emotions follow your breath. And as Tiger Woods once said, I think the guys that are controlling their emotions are going to win. Now, hopefully, you've gained a couple of tools to help you achieve that. So breathe deeply, regain control, and achieve success. Thank you.